I put this video together so that the players can review the things we've talked about with our formation. We're going to talk about these things in practice, talk about them in games, but I thought it would be useful to have something they can go back to and look at, because it's one of those things that you can't just process and listen to once and do a couple of times in a game and then have it. I thought it would be useful to have something they can review and go back and look at and see how our formation is set up and the roles and the responsibilities of each player. So this is a very general overview. It's hard to be really specific and cover every game scenario, but hopefully this will give the players an outline of what they should be doing in each of the positions so they'll feel more comfortable in the game environment, but also kind of understand when they can break the rules too. And that comes with time and experience. But our basic format is 4 in the back, obviously a goalkeeper, 4 in the back, 2 holding midfielders, 3 attacking midfielders, and a forward. Now, more and more, these positions are being referred to by numbers rather than names. I mean, we've all heard, okay, center back, left center back, right fullback, left fullback. Some people refer to all of these as fullbacks, but it's just slightly different depending on where you are in the world and who your coach is. These are often referred to as defensive center midfielders. I like to refer to them as holding midfielders, and we'll come back to that. And then we've got attacking midfielders or attacking center midfielder here, attacking outside midfielders, and then you've got forwards, strikers. But more and more they're being referred to by numbers. And so the numbers of each player, number 1 is the goalkeeper, which they're always excited about. So that's the number 1 on a team. Now you've got your center backs are your number 4 and your number 5. And the number 5 is always the left center back, and the number 4 is always that right center back. Now your fullbacks, you've got number 2 on the right side, number 3 on the left side. Again, these are always specific to the sides that they're on. Now in the midfield, you've got a number 6 and a number 8, and those are your holding midfielders in this formation. If you're playing a different formation, if you're playing a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, these numbers would be similar but not identical. So we've got 2 holding midfielders, so we have a number 6 and a number 8. Then the attacking mids, number 10 is the center. Number 7 is always that right midfielder or forward, depending, but in this formation, it's the right midfielder. And then we've got the number 11 is your left-sided midfielder in this formation. Now, number 9 is your striker, your center forward. So that's just an overview. I think the kids should be aware of that because as time goes on, more and more and more coaches are referring to them by their numbers. It's not something I always do, but I'll do frequently just to try to help them understand what those numbers are and how they relate to the positions. So now the responsibilities of each player. And let's go ahead and start in the back. So obviously the role of the goalkeeper is not just to save goals, but also to start attacks and to help the team keep possession so that we can build out of the back. So we'll add a ball now that we're talking about those situations where we need to have a ball. So we'll add a ball in here. Made some changes, so I'll save that. We'll put a ball in here. So everything's relative to the ball, obviously. Make sure that's a white soccer ball. There we go. All right, so when the goalkeeper has the ball, then the question becomes, what does everybody else do? What are their responsibilities? So when we're building out of the back, I want the center backs, the number 4 and the number 5, to open up not quite as wide as the box, but wide enough that they're supporting the goalkeeper, one on the right, one on the left. I want to have our outside backs pushing up and very wide. We get our width from our team from our outside backs. So, getting it from our number 2 on this side and our number 3 on that side. One of the holding midfielders will drop back into this space. The other holding midfielder will stay up higher, but always opposite. And that's something you'll notice about the holding midfielders, is that they play opposite of each other. So if one's high, the other's low. If one's pushed up a bit wider, the other one is a bit more central. So they're always helping us protect the middle of the field. They're also providing an option for the goalkeeper to pass the ball out. When the team presses us, then this becomes even more important to have somebody here. These players don't need to go wide because we've already got the outside backs going wide. So these players will push up, but they'll also push in. The attacking midfielder will push up as well. The forward will go as far as they can while staying connected to the team. We don't want them isolated way up here. Even if the defenders for the other team are farther back, oftentimes I'll want them to play in that hole in between so that they stay connected to the team and not isolated and standing next to their defenders far up the field. So this is how we're pushed up. Most of the time, we'll want to play out of the back to a player's feet. Now, we naturally have diamond shapes in this formation. So now we have the support. Although we have the support, we need to make sure that we're helping each other as much as possible. So oftentimes this player will need to slide down. This player can hold wide if they anticipate that we're going to keep possession, or if they view that, okay, there's too much pressure there, the other team is really pressing, and this center back has dropped in, the goalkeeper has dropped to support, then this player can drop in to help us defend. And that's a decision that is through trial and error and just reading the game. So they're going to see if we're going to keep possession, they can stay very high if we're going to work it out, because then that's going to allow them to get forward. If we're going to lose it, they can drop back in and help. It's just a game situation decision. This player stays central. Sometimes this player will want to push on and push forward, but that's going to leave a hole and a lack of support there. So it's really important that this player become that left side, for the player with the ball, the left side, of that diamond of support so that we have that good support. Now the forward will oftentimes check to that side as well to help support the play. But again, a situational thing, if they see that the ball is getting transferred quickly up the field, they can stay wide, because by staying wide, they're going to draw defenders to their side. By coming toward the ball, they're going to draw defenders toward the ball. So again, that's a situational decision that's just kind of learned through trial and error. So when the ball is played here, we can continue to build through the midfield and go forward. Or if there's just too much pressure, oftentimes the best thing is to drop it back. And then this player here has stayed wide, so we can play them out to that side. So that's why we want these players wide, is to create that width in the game that's going to allow us to switch the ball. You can imagine if this player had dropped in, then this player receives the ball, and now it's hard to get width. You can get it from that midfielder if you need to, but that's just a more difficult ball to play, because you're going to have to play it usually through players, around players, or over players in order to get it there, whereas this ball oftentimes can more directly be played to feet than the other ball to the midfielder. So that's how we're going to have that basic shape. Now things change as the ball moves. If the ball comes to this side and this player drops, in a little bit here, and this player needs to drop back in order to help create the diamond on that side, because the ball is then carried wide into this area, then that makes sense for that player to help out with the diamond there, and then to have the number 6 drop in a little bit totally makes sense. So as we build out of the back, then we just get more support. So if the ball comes there, then we've got the support there. We've got the support there. This player would then try to find a window to receive the ball on a different angle. One of the big mistakes these number 10s make is hiding behind passing angles. So if the ball is there, to be hiding behind that number 8, and now they're really not available. If they can, they want to try to find windows where they can receive the ball, whether that means dropping back a little bit sometimes or pushing a little bit forward sometimes. That's just going to depend on the situation. But as much as they can, they want to try to find these gaps, these windows, to provide support for the ball. As the ball goes forward and we get players moving forward to support, now we have, we'll just push everybody up here a little bit. As the ball moves forward here, then that number 6 would hold the middle, and that's so important. We'd have our center backs, our 4 and 5, come a little bit more narrow perhaps, just in order to protect, or they can also support. Again, if possession is going to be retained, they can support. If they feel like it's going to be lost, then we need to get compact and defend. Situational decisions. These players can push forward then. Number 10 can become that side of the diamond. The number 9 is up top. Then we have our number 11 tucked in here, creating room for that number 5 to get forward and creating support. Now we've built up to the point where we're in the attacking line or the attacking third of the field. So now getting our midfielders forward to support and allowing that outside back to continue their run is important. You'll see the number 8 come up. You'll see the number 6 push forward as well. And so what do we have here? We've got number 9 on the ball. We've got number 6 there. We've got our number 10, or that's our number 9 if our number 10 pushes up. So these are interchangeable as you get farther forward. The key is, did we build up properly from the back, and do we maintain enough support defensively and enough cover defensively so that we're not going to get countered very, very quickly? And, keeping our shape and keeping our compactness in the back, with the players that remained is really important. There'll be times you'll see even that other outside back pushing forward, which is fine. Again, if we're going to maintain possession, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as we've got support from our holding midfielders, from our number 6 and our number 8, supporting the ball and covering, then we're okay to push forward and commit players. If we do lose the ball, then it becomes a transitional moment where we need to get that number 5 back, that number 4 back, 6 and 8. If they've stayed home, it's very easy for them to transition. So that becomes less of an issue. We want our number 11 and our number 7 to drop back. Number 10 should drop back, but they don't need to drop back in here with these players. They're already doing that job. They can stay farther forward. I'll often tell the number 10 to take their cues off the 6 and 8. If those 6 and 8 have recovered their positions and they're fine defensively, no reason for them to drop back. We've got a good shape here. Even if the other team has the ball, then we're not under incredible pressure to drop back at this point in time. And we'll just add an attacking player for the other team. Not quite that big. So we'll add that player and we'll switch him around facing the other way. So now we've got a player from the other team with the ball, but we've got really good pressure and cover behind that ball because our outside players recovered and because we were able to get our number 7 and our number 11 tucked back in, and the number 6 and the number 8 stayed home. If they would have pushed up too far, and then we get either a player isolated or hopefully never we get too far forward where, that player was way up there. It happens. Unfortunately, you get pulled out of position. Then we've got to count on our number 10 to help out and drop into that space. So ideally, we would keep our shape here. Now, for me, these are the most important moments. I haven't really covered the attacking third because it's much more fluid here, and it's more about supporting the ball and making runs. And we can have outside players making runs in, we can have inside players making runs out. That's fine. If we've built up correctly and supported correctly from the back, then the attacking third is the player's responsibility, really. I look at, did we get out of the back well? Did we transition and build through the midfield well? And now can we attack? That's about creativity and decision-making in the moment. It's not something you can really script or pattern. So hopefully this gives the players an idea of the basic structure of the positions and some of the roles and responsibilities of the players. I didn't talk as much defensively about the number 9, but I want them to pressure the ball. They're our first defender to be able to put pressure on the ball. So we definitely don't want them just being a striker and staying away. We want them helping to pressure the ball and win it back. And then they're supported by the other players in good positions. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, you can email me, you can text me and ask me those questions, and I'll be happy to help, or we can go over it at practice. If there's something that you just don't understand and you want to see it in the context of the whole team, we can do that.